In today's video, we're going to talk about nose to tail eating, what that means, why it's important, and why we do it here at the Peace Offering. Nose to tail is a reference to eating the whole animal. This is how our ancestors were eating, and nothing went to waste. Typically now, most people just eat muscle meat. If we're only doing that, there are some downsides. And nose to tail eating, which would add in things like the connective tissue, the organs, and the glands, would provide a much more comprehensive micronutrient profile and provide things that would offset only eating muscle meat. So let's get into this. The first thing that most people will start doing when they begin nose to tail eating is focusing on organ meats. So we're talking about eating liver, eating heart, kidney, mostly those three. And to some extent, people will eat the other organs like the spleen. And the reason that these are being included in modern times is because of the incredible micronutrients that are packed into these organs. Liver specifically is like a multivitamin. It has a lot of preformed vitamin A, otherwise known as retinol. It has a lot of heme iron. It has a lot of copper. It has a good spectrum of B vitamins, but in particular folate. So if you are someone, especially if you are someone that is dealing with anemia, liver is like medicine in this regard because it provides the building blocks that you will need in order to make red blood cells, make hemoglobin, recycle iron, and balance the iron and copper that is in your system. Moving on to heart. The heart muscle is very high in a nutrient called CoQ10. And CoQ10 is used and required in the mitochondrial electron transport chain. It's also something that is significantly depleted if you're taking statins. So heart can be very helpful. You can notice improved energy simply by eating heart muscle. And then lastly, with regard to kidney is unique in that it has an enzyme called DOA in it. And if you're someone who has histamine intolerance or sensitivity, eating kidney can help with this because this is the enzyme that breaks down histamine. Another unique food that people eat when they're going nose to tail are the bones and the bone marrow. And so let's talk specifically about bone marrow. There is a similar fat profile to the fat that's in muscle meats. However, there's a very unique type of lipid called an alkyl glycerol. And AKGs, or alkyl glycerols, are lipids that stimulate the production and activity of immune cells, including macrophages, NK cells, lymphocytes, granulocytes, and they improve antibody responses. So if you are someone that struggles with low white blood cells, or if you have a condition where you have low immune response, bone marrow, and these AKGs in particular, can be helpful. Another very important part of eating nose to tail are the tendons, ligaments, the skin, the joints, the joint capsules. It's all of this connective tissue. And by making bone broths and simmering these things over long periods of time, you can get access to the collagen that makes up that connective tissue. Collagen is predominantly made from glycine, proline, and hydroxyproline. These are the three main amino acids that are in collagen that make up connective tissue. And they are very different than the type of amino acids that you'll find in muscle meats. So by consuming these types of amino acids, glycine, proline, and hydroxyproline, you are providing your own collagen cells with the ability to make more collagen because these three amino acids are requirements for that. Also, what is required is vitamin C and silicon. But from the standpoint of optimizing your own connective tissue, joints, tendons, ligaments, that kind of thing, eating collagen and plenty of it is actually very helpful. And maybe even more important is that muscle meat itself contains a lot of methionine. And studies show that eating pretty much exclusively muscle meats in high amounts will increase an inflammatory amino acid called homocysteine. This is the result of the heavy amount of methionine that's in the muscle meat. Homocysteine is associated with cardiovascular disease. It's very inflammatory, and you can measure this in a lab panel. By eating nose to tail and including the collagen components of a cow, for example, you can improve the breakdown of homocysteine. This is also related to longevity studies. So in longevity studies, they've seen that high muscle meat, high methionine, dietary methionine, leads to shorter lifespan. Restricting methionine leads to longer lifespan. But if you add enough glycine relative to methionine in the diet, you get the same effect, the same life extension effect as if you were methionine restricted. In other words, if you're eating nose to tail, you will balance methionine against glycine. Now, the main attribution to this aging process is the homocysteine that I was mentioning before. So this is critical for both managing that homocysteine and also by improving your own connective tissue. Also, what's included in eating nose to tail are the hormone-producing glands like the thyroid, the ovaries, the testicles, and some of the other reproductive parts that can confer positive hormonal benefits. So you may see this as something like desiccated thyroid would be a common example for improving metabolic rate and mitochondrial output. And lastly, by reducing waste, improving sustainability, you're using the whole carcass and nothing goes to waste. This is the ideal way to honor the animal that is being sacrificed for your nutritional benefit.